3, 2, 1. You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, and I'm here with another humble, beautiful host, might I add, Colin. Colin, how are you, friend?
Very humble. I like to stay humble, and, I like to just be here on the show having a good time. How are you doing, bud?
You're so humble. Like, you're like so Connor humble. For real. You're so humble.
Yeah, I'm basically like Connor for real.
Yeah, but, man, so this is the second film we're reviewing tonight, and again, it's another stinker, man. We're talking about Hellboy, the 2019 reboot, of course, or as I'm calling it, Hellboy, parentheses, what black fathers call their black children. What'd you do, son? Oh, I spilled grape juice on the carpet. Oh, hell, boy! Like, that's how I hear it. But, I don't know. Like, I have no data to back this up, but I'm just going off my gut.
Yeah.
But, dude, so here's the thing. We're seeing we're seeing Endgame in 2 weeks. Thank God.
Endgame.
So excited for Endgame. Shazam, which you have not checked out or review, you should. Great fucking movie. Captain Marvel, really great. There's a certain floor now for superhero TV shows, films, like the medium in general, where if you can't clear this bar, you should not be producing fill in the blank. And this, man, so let me just describe my night. So I went to Burger Me. If you're in Reno, Nevada, or Sparks or close, Burger Me. Burger Me is wonderful. So I got a nice turkey burger, got a small garlic fry, right, and I get a chocolate shake. So I go into Hellboy. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling full. I'm like, all right, like I'm ready for some good demon on demon action, right? And I don't think I've been this bored since Hunter Killer. That movie with Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman with the submarine.
Damn.
I was bored to fucking
Hunter
tears.
Killer's terrible.
It is, and I was bored to fucking tears watching this movie. I was like, how is this so slow? And I felt nothing. It's got Mila Jovovich in it. Like, I mean, she's cute. I was like, all right, but
Is she from Resident Evil?
She is, yeah, well done. Yeah, she's from those...
She's a Resident Evil chick, right?
Yeah, she's from those dumb Resident Evil movies. I'm sitting there watching this, and I just kept thinking, I should be having fun with this, at the very least, but nah, man, I thought this just sucked. Kind of your thoughts, man.
Yeah, this movie sucks.
I'm so happy you don't like it.
I saw it this afternoon. Dude, from the get-go, it's just like a wish-wash of like all these different like plots and like random shit going on, and the CGI is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, just so bad. It looks so bad. So the big thing that this movie had going for it was that it was using is it Mark Stanley? Is that the dude from? No. Who's the dude from
Stranger Things?
Stranger Things, yeah.
David Harbour. Yeah, Hopper.
Yeah. So David Harbour, like this dude, like that was the big thing going for Hellboy. Was like, dude, yep. I love David Harbour.
He's
like,
amazing.
I love Stranger Things. He was so good in it, especially season 2 of Stranger Things.
Season 3, July 4th. Woo,
oh,
sorry.
Dude, can't wait.
We will be reviewing Stranger Things 3. Like that is something I am. Yeah, and Far From Home comes up the next day. Sorry, go ahead.
Hell yeah, dude. So when I think of like Hellboy and I think of David Harbour, like I think of season 2, when he's got is it 11, right?
11,
That's her name.
Yeah.
So he's like harboring 11 and like all of her egos that she wants. Like he's like, you know, being the like protector of 11, and like he's really interesting in that role. Like I love watching him in that role. Like in this movie, dude, I'm getting none of that. I'm getting no like interest in his character. Like it seems like this movie's a cross between it's like trying to be like Deadpool, right? It's like trying to be kind of that like Deadpool, kind of like edgy, break the fourth wall type of thing. But it's also trying to be like a callback to the old Guillermo del Toro version of Hellboy, which we have to talk about. You know, this movie is basically, you know, it's recreating a movie that was done by Guillermo del Toro. We all know how it goes when you try and continue a franchise from Guillermo del Toro. Let me tell you, Pacific Rim, the sequel to that, was on my list of favorite movies of last year. Like, there's something that Guillermo del Toro does that just cannot be emulated, repeated, or replicated. Like, you just can't do what this dude does. So the fact that, like, this guy's trying to do Hellboy right now, this Neil Marshall fuck, like, this guy, like, he's not doing a good job. Like, he can't replicate Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro has this style about him, this beautiful essence that he fucking does. And it just, you know, seeing this Hellboy movie, all of a sudden I just started thinking about the old Hellboy, the old Guillermo del Toro one. I was just like, dude, that was like culty and classic and cool. This one's just like bad CGI and shit and like a bunch of mishmashed plots that I was getting so annoyed, dude. So annoyed.
So I just gotta say, man, there are times we disagree on the podcast, but God, when we agree, I just want to kiss you. I love so much everything you just said because, dude, I was sitting there. So, Hellboy 2 The Golden Army comes out May 7th on 4K. I already have that shit pre-ordered, and I was sitting there the whole time in the theater thinking, God, The Golden Army is way better than this is. Like, and I know some people, probably most people like the original Hellboy over The Golden Army, which, fine if you do. I think you're wrong, but whatever. But you're right though. Del Toro, especially with the practical makeup, like there's so much, like the sets in the first two Hellboys that Del Toro did, they felt really inspired. I mean, like they really felt like he spent time. The sets in here just feel so generic, and the term I would use is lifeless. Like just really feels like it's like
hollow.
Yeah. Dude, you hit the nail on the head. Thank you. In the Toro films, the sets almost feel like another character, like it's breathing life into the narrative.
Yeah.
This felt like it was just draining the life out of the narrative. I was sitting there like, fuck, like it feels like no one wants to be here. I think David Harbour is awesome, and I'm happy he got a role in the Black Widow movie that's coming up. I mean, he's on the come up, which, you know, good for him. He's great
for sure.
He's great on Stranger Things.
Like this movie being shitty is not his fault.
No, and I thought there were a couple moments where I went, okay, like that was kind of funny. The biggest problem with this movie is the fucking humor. Oh my god, I have
so bad.
And I'll tell you right now, I just saw Shazam a couple weeks ago. Shazam is hilarious. Captain Marvel was really funny. The lack of laughs I got from this, I probably laughed more in Us than I did watching this movie.
Dude, this movie bombs too, right? Like it has like a lot of jokes it tries to make funny, and it bombs. Like I thought there was a lot of times I was just like grinding my teeth, being like, "Oh God, that was so bad. That was so cringy."
This is the epitome. If you could take a comedian who thinks they're funny and they bomb on stage, and you could bottle that emotion and all that into a film, it would be this. Because there's a lot of attempts at jokes in here, and I was just sitting there going, man, I don't like I'm not laughing at this. I mean, I chuckled a couple times, but as far as the actual, you know, like a laugh, I don't think I got one this whole time.
Oh no, I cringed most of the time.
So I mean, So I'm gonna throw it to you, man. You want to go through the plot, and I use this term loosely, the plot on this shit?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try, but
I have faith in you.
yeah, I mean, it's basically like, dude, I mean, honestly, I would rather hear you go over it, to be honest, because like as much as like I try and think about the plot, I'm just like, dude, it was all over the place. I'm curious to see like what your summary of it would be.
Okay, so Hellboy is basically brought to go ahead and kill the Blood Queen. Hellboy originally was created. Basically, he's the Antichrist. Like, he's the Antichrist who drinks and smokes and makes one-liners.
And his dad is Brian Gleason, right? Or no.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane, that's right. Yeah, Ian McShane, dude.
Who, of course, you know from Pirates of the Caribbean. I want to say it's the fourth one. He was Blackbeard, and he was the one good thing about that movie. You know him recently, of course, from...
you would really know him from Hot Rod as the dad.
Yeah. Yes, you would know him from Hot Rod as well. I do love Hot Rod. I don't get as
I'm gonna kill you, Frank, you old sack of shit.
We need to review Hot Rod here like this month. I fucking love Hot Rod.
When I saw that Ian McShane was in this as the dad, I just like all I could think about was Hot Rod.
That's so
kill
true.
You, Frank, you old sack of shit.
I do love Hot Rod, but you know him recently from the John Wick films, which he's great in, and of course, so just to nerd out real quick, one of my favorite HBO shows ever is Deadwood, and they're doing a Deadwood movie. Dude, I am so amped for that fucking Deadwood movie. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, baby. Like, give me that shit. So, yeah, Ian McShane is one of my favorite actors. And if you are a TV watcher, you should be watching American Gods, because he's on there, and he plays Mr. Wednesday, and he's delightful.
Yeah. So he's Hellboy's dad.
He's Hellboy's dad, yeah. He's a professor.
I thought they had very little chemistry together on screen.
Colin, get out of my head. That's exactly what I was about to say.
That was another thing that I fucking hated, was watching them on screen together. I was like, oh my god, dude, it's so bad.
So this is basically, if you could take, oh god, how do I put it? If you could take an indie band whose music you hear in Hot Topic, it would be this movie, because honestly, dude, it's so much Hellboy going like, you're my dad, but you weren't there for me. And there's a point where I was like, for fuck's sake,
like Hellboy's such a whiny bitch. Like, what do you like? It's like, especially the fact that it's fucking David Harbour, and I'm like, dude, David Harbour's supposed to be a badass. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and the movie really just does not know when to stop as far as that. Like, that's probably the most character development Hellboy actually gets. The fact that
it's a dumb character development.
Yeah, that he has daddy issues, and so
right. So like, wait, I got daddy issues. Like, it's so fucking thrown in your face.
So basically, Hellboy's born during World War II. Like, he's half demon, half man. Professor Brittenholm had a chance to kill him because he's part of this like elite kill squad. He doesn't kill him, raises him as his own son, and yeah, man, he's brought back to kill the Blood Queen. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, even trying to get through this plot, I'm doing a better job than the movie did, because the movie was just so scatterbrained.
Well, there was all these other things happening at once, right? Like, when you say like all these things that would like kind of like take your attention away from what was like the main plot, like if there was such a thing.
Yeah, right? I mean, yeah, what's frustrating about this is that, so he works for the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. Which I will say, the logo, I actually ordered a shirt with that logo because I really do dig the logo. I'm like, okay, that's kind of fucking cool. But you think about Jeffrey Tambor in the Del Toro versions. I thought Tambor had way better chemistry with Ron Perlman than Harbour had with Ian McShane.
Yeah, for sure.
And and plus you had Selma Blair, who I've had a thing for her since Cruel Intentions. I fully admit this, but
motherfucking Cruel Intentions, bro.
Yeah, that. I like the way you broke that down, but I mean, she was like her. The chemistry with her and Ron Perlman was great. They try to kind of have this, I guess you'd call kind of a brother sister dynamic between Hellboy and Sasha Lane, who plays Alice, who's like a psychic, but her like when she can touch people and they can speak through her, and it's this really really shitty looking CGI effect when someone's speaking through her.
It's so bad.
Like it's some Resident Evil 1 shit. Like it looks really fucking.
The CGI
horrible.
in this movie is embarrassing.
That's the perfect.
It's
word
an
for
embarrassment to CGI.
Whoever did the CGI on this movie should be like locked in the basement because
one of the main reasons why this it would repeatedly take me out of any scene when I would see the really bad CGI. Honestly, it was that bad. Like sometimes you can get away with like mediocre CGI because it's just like in the heat of the moment, but like a lot of these scenes, dude, it would take me out of the scene completely and be like, oh my god, this is corny as fuck.
No, and that's totally fair. I will say for myself, I just found myself laughing at some of the CGI. There's a scene with Hellboy where he takes on some giants, and I thought that action scene was actually handled really well. I was like, okay, I'm like, this works for me. But the last kind of big action scene where the Earth opens up and Mila Jovovich, I don't say it's Neme, the Blood Queen. First off, Mila Jovovich, look, I get it. She's fucking hot. She was Alice in the Resident Evil movies. I get it. I get how some people go, like, well, she's kind of charismatic and cute. Like, come on. She was hamming it up in this, and in a weird way, I didn't like it, but I kind of respected it, because she clearly knew what she was in. Russian. Yeah, and she knew what movie she was in. She was like, whatever, like, fine. I was just,
Dude, you remember Fifth Element?
Yeah, and I feel like that's still her best role. It's Fifth Element.
That's not her best role.
You think so?
Well, I mean, she was just like silly in that role. She didn't even like say any lines. She like couldn't even speak English.
I mean, can you name a better role that she's done?
I mean, I guess I would probably say Resident Evil.
Which one? Like which?
I mean. Well, I mean, it's
Go ahead.
No. I'm just like your argument is that like the Fifth Element is the best thing she's done. I just like she doesn't do much in that movie. Like I'm not trying to argue that like the Resident Evil movies she's like a phenomenal actress. I'm just saying like she at least like said lines. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't think she's an incredible actress by any means in any role she's ever done, but I think in the Resident Evil movies. Anyone you picked, at least she said lines.
All right, fine. The one role that she is better in than Lilu is Katinka in Zoolander. That's the one film I'll give you because she has some lines in that. But, dude, I think she like fair. And look, I will say, man, just as a nerd, I've had a huge thing for her since the Fifth Element.
Well, she's just like so Russian, you know what I mean?
She is. I mean, thanks for
there's something about how Russian she is that's like super hot.
Yeah, thanks for the rigging our election, God, Milosevic.
Yeah, you can rig my election anytime you want.
Well done, sir. Yeah, you're a Russian bitch, but I don't know, but. She's real, like, she's hamming
Tamper
up
with my
this.
polls.
And, well done. Like, she's really bad in this. And
oh, terrible.
And Ian McShane, like I said, we love Ian McShane. I love Ian McShane. And Ian McShane, you can see him looking at the screen at points and going, all right, I'm adding this wing to my house. I'm going to get a new lawnmower. I might get a new dog for my dog I already have. Like he's spinning the check in his head as he's filming this shit, and what's his name? Daniel Day Kim, who plays Ben. So he's like he works for the bureau, and he of course doesn't like Hellboy. He's human, and I will say, Western Union couldn't telegraph a twist more than they did with him because he's like,
dude, what a Western Union joke! My God,
thank you, but
legendary.
Thank you, sir. But he's like, "Oh, I hate monsters." And I went, "Oh, so you're clearly one yourself." And so when it's revealed, like, went no and duh. It's like, God damn.
No duh.
Like it's so bad and
bad.
And so I knew it was bad. I'm sitting there in the theater. And I'm trying, Colin. Like, I cannot genuinely express to you enough to you how much I was trying to make excuses for the movie. And I kept coming up empty. I went, no. Like, everyone in this movie should have known better. And I don't know if you heard about the potential drama backstage. Because, of course, you know, this...
no, what happened?
So, apparently... There were rewrites happening on the script that day. David Harbour apparently was a huge diva and walked off set multiple times.
Yeah, because he knew he was in a shitty movie, probably.
Neil Marshall, apparently the studio was calling him saying, like, you need to change A, B, and C, like, while they're shooting the scenes that day. So apparently there's a bunch of studio in there. It sounded a lot like Fantastic Four. The reboot they did a couple years back.
Oh, like, God, that one was so bad.
Like, it really sounded, like, as far as the production, like, and the troubles, it sounded a lot like that. So I was kind of going...
Dude, who the fuck put fucking Neil Marshall in charge of this? What a mistake. What a horrible mistake.
So Neil Marshall did a movie called Dog Soldiers, which if you have not seen, fucking please seek out Dog Soldiers.
In 2002?
Yeah, dude, it's one of those movies that went way under the radar, and I honestly, if you were
but that was 17 years ago.
No, I get that. Trust me, I understand. But I'm just saying...
Even if it was great, it was 17 years ago.
Well, to be fair, he's been a director on Hannibal, Black Sails, and Westworld, so for the last 3 years.
One episode, 2 episodes, like... here and there.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, it's not like he's, like, devoid of talent, but this... But what I will say about this is it definitely felt like maybe either he was given too much control or maybe he wasn't given enough. And I think the truth falls somewhere in the middle on that. As far as the rest of the film, man, like I said, I thought that one action scene with where he's taking on the giants, I thought was well done. The last kind of big action showcase, of course, Nimue. I'll say Nimue.
Your guess is as good as mine.
The Blood Queen, we'll call her that.
Yeah, Blood Queen. Yeah,
there you go.
Mia Djokovic.
yeah, that's way easier. Where she goes ahead and basically raises like all these demons up and everything. The gore in this, and I don't mind gore, man. I can handle gore, but this was like gratuitous gore. Like there's
but it was silly looking.
It was silly looking, but there's like dudes getting their like dicks ripped off. I was like, oh yeah,
shit. It was bad.
Like it was like I was sitting there watching and I went,
that's the director's fault. That's Neil Marshall's fucking fault.
No, it is. No, it is completely Neil Marshall's fault. But there was just a point where it was so much gore, but it was gratuitous. That's the word I keep coming back to. It was gore for the sake of gore. Hey, we have an R rating on like those Del Toro movies.
It's like Neil Marshall's like, it works for Game of Thrones. It's like, yeah, it works for Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones has a crazy fucking audience.
Yeah. And you know,
they can do whatever they want. They can rip dicks off.
And a cohesive plot, from what I hear.
Yeah. I mean, they have so much fan base lore. I mean, there's so many episodes. But like when you try and just like throw like crazy shit into like a movie that you're trying to establish a fan base on one first movie, like, dude, you're gonna have a hard time.
And I think the other thing too that people are not talking about enough is that, look, this is a reboot of 2 films that Del Toro did. I think they did very well. And so, you know, you're going to have those people who kind of go like, you know, where do you get off? Pardon me.
Oh, I'm comparing him directly to Del Toro.
Yeah, and I know some people go like, oh, it's his own thing, but it's got the Hellboy name, so it's kind of unfair to not compare it. And
yeah, I mean, you're making the exact same movie. Like, of course people are going to compare you to the other dude that made the same movie that happens to have an Oscar for directing now.
Yeah. So but I was really sitting there watching this, man, and I was bored. I was really bored. Alice, she kind of has a cool power. She can like see the future, but that's really not explored enough at all. I did feel a little something. Spoiler, come on, if you care about this Hellboy, like, don't see this movie. Just throwing that out there. But
this movie sucks.
Yeah, we're saving you like $10. But Professor Brittenholm, when Ian McShane does get killed, I went, oh, because I just like Ian McShane. It wasn't for the character's sake. I was like, oh, that's a bummer. But I said it just like that in my head, like, oh, it's a bummer. Not like, oh my god, no, like, like I will with, fill in character name here for Endgame. But I was just sitting there watching this. I went, fuck, this is not working. And Hellboy has a lot of one-liners, and those don't work. And I was going down the list, like, did the CG work for me? Not really. Were the action scenes good? There was one. Was the dialogue snappy? No. Did I feel anything for the characters? Not really. Like, every check mark, and I was trying to meet the movie, on every level. Like, okay, maybe I'm just not in the right mindset. Pardon me.
No, you had the right reactions.
For but no, this is just bad. And the more I thought about it, like, I was irritated leaving the theater last night. And Josh, shout out to Josh, my Uber driver.
Your name's Josh.
I know, it's so cool. But Josh, he's asking me like, "Hey man, like, what you think of Hellboy?" And I just ranted about it for like 10 minutes, like the whole car ride home.
You shouldn't have asked a podcaster that question.
Yeah, and he was like,
"Are you ready for 10 minutes of content?"
No, it was funny because he, like, after I was just going off, he, like, we're pulling up to my spot, and he goes, "Oh, so I shouldn't see it."
You're like, yeah. Basically, long story short, don't see it.
Yeah, basically, I was like, "Yeah, Josh, don't see this movie." He's like, "Oh, fair enough." I'm like, "Yeah." So, just wrapping this up though, it's a shame because you know what this felt like? This felt like Terminator Salvation to me, where I saw the first trailer and I went,
"Damn!"
I went, "Oh, okay, I'm excited."
That's a burn.
And I feel like I got fucking hornswoggled when I walked out of the
theater. Hornswoggled.
I was like, "You sons of bitches, like, you got me excited, and you totally fucking lied to me about what this was."
They rickrolled you.
This was fucking horrible, man. I'd rather watch Suicide Squad, to be completely honest. Like,
shit, really?
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Suicide Squad? I think I'd rather watch this than Suicide Squad.
Oh, no, because
Suicide Squad's the fucking worst.
I can at least hang on to, like, Harley, like, Margot Robbie's at least hot.
Ooh, that's true.
I can.
You bring up a good point.
I liked the Viola Davis in it.
Wow.
And
damn, you're right, man. This movie is worse than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, no, I hated this way more than Suicide Squad. I just left the theater going, "You fucking lied to me." Like, that was the thought I had. I was like, fuck. Like, I was so ready to go, like, Hellboy, hell yeah, go see this, support it, so it gets a sequel. This does not deserve a sequel in any universe. Even if you believe in the multiverse or the fucking quantum realm, this in no way deserves a fucking sequel. This is a go fuck yourself to the highest fucking degree.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't even finish my beer until in the movie because I was just looking at the screen like, I cannot believe you showed this to someone. They went, "Yep, totally cool, push it out." I was like, wow, fuck off. And Andrew Cosby, he was the writer on this. The only other film he wrote was Two Guns with Denzel and Mark Wahlberg. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was a writer on Eureka, that sci-fi show. I actually liked Eureka, and I don't know what happened. Maybe he got hit in the head with a billy club or something like that. That's why he couldn't write this shit. But this movie, this might make my worst stuff. I'm gonna be completely honest because I was just like I was really upset the more I was talking to people about it today because I had a couple people at work go like, "Oh, what'd you think of it?" And I was like, and they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, all right." And I had to fill people in, but yeah, I really didn't like this. I thought this just blew. So Colin, man, I'll give you a couple minutes here. Your final thoughts and grades, sir.
All right, I'll make it quick. I'll just say this. I really like David Harbour. I think he's a great actor. I really love him in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Him playing Hellboy, like, he's not bad as Hellboy. Like, none of this is his fault. But when you really dive into him and Ian McShane, Professor Broom, like, those two playing off each other, that should be the core, the heart of the movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
these two characters should be, like, what you latch on to, like, what the whole movie's about, right? They have no chemistry whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, that should be your basis of your movie, and this movie just flounders in that fundamental sense. So, I mean, everything outside of that is already fucked. And then the fact that you get, like, cheap animation, man. Like, CGI is bad in this movie. Bad. You got Mia Djokovic, just phoning it in, just doing her shit. Dude, this movie sucks. Like, Neil Marshall, this dude doesn't give a fuck. Like, this guy's just in it for the paycheck, 100%. He's just been doing a bunch of random episodes of TV shows. This was his big shot. He failed, man. Like, you get this big shot. No, I'm serious. You get this big shot, you gotta make it work. And it just seems like this was like a lazy, fucking run-of-the-mill bullshit. Like, especially when... Okay, tell me this. If you know that you're making a franchise movie that the last one was done by Guillermo del Toro, the dude that, like, did Pacific Rim, Shape of Water, won an Oscar...
Yep.
Like, is one of the best directors of our time. Like, aren't you gonna go out there and really just, like, try and go above and beyond? Like, this dude,
so.
Yeah, you would think so, right? This dude just phones it in, man. This is lazy bullshit. This movie sucks. This movie's a piece of shit. Fuck this movie. This is a go fuck yourself to the highest degree. Fuck Hellboy. It's gonna be on my worst of. Fuck this movie.
That is completely fair. And apparently the budget on this... So, that is one thing I will say. The budget on the first Deadpool, I think it was like 55, 60 mil. The budget on this was 50 million. And man, like... And I know I use this example all the time, but I don't care. The fact that District 9's budget was like 40 mil, and District 9 looks as good as it does, it's like, come on, guys. Like,
Dude, District 9 looks better than this shit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I would
It's just a matter about if you give a shit or not.
Yeah. Like,
If you just have to give a shit, you'll make a good-looking movie probably. If you give a shit.
Yeah, this was frustrating. This really was frustrating to watch, and it was just like, well, why isn't this better? Like, this should be better, and it's not. And I don't know, man. I really want this to be better. Like, I really was going in this excited. And I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score. I was like, okay, like 15%. That's not great, but maybe the critics just don't get it. And nah, the critics get it. The critics were totally right on this. This was just shit, and it's a bummer. It's a bummer because I really, and I know I'm gonna shock some people, but it would be nice to see shit outside of Marvel and DC do well as far as comic book movies. Like, I'd like to see more shit, do well. But
dude, the original Hellboy by Guillermo del Toro, that shit is actually very watchable, very interesting. I like that shit.
Yeah, but
this is a disservice to that.
This is not watchable. So don't watch this. So guys, what did you think of Hellboy if you were unfortunate enough to see it? Let us know in the comments below. You can like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. And you can follow Colin on Twitter at
Theeloneal.
And you can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, pardon me, and Spotify at The Real Pineapple. And guys, this upcoming week we'll have reviews up for Penguins comes out. I'm so excited. Disney's Penguins. If they have a 3D showing, I will be seeing that shit. And we'll have a review up for the latest episode of The Twilight Zone as well, which, spoiler alert, the first two episodes, really quite wonderful, because Jordan Peele is really good at,
2 weeks away from Endgame.
Yeah, and we will have a review up for Endgame that night. We're gonna have
Woo!
we will have a
So close.
We're gonna have probably 8 or 9 people on that review. It's gonna
Hell yeah!
That's gonna be a fun review because
Let's go.
What do you put the over under at? I think we'll go over an hour.
2 hours.
I think we can go under 2. I think we'll be at about 100 minutes. I mean, between like 8 or 9 people.
Yeah.
At
least 90 minutes. At least feature. I think we're gonna do a feature length film easy.
Yeah, I think we'll go 90 minutes.
We'll go 90 minutes feature length film. No problem. Bring it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.